Donald Trump puts America first as he heads to Ohio to assess the damage done by the train derailment and chemical spill, while Biden puts America last as he sneaks off to Ukraine to guarantee them $500 million more in military aid in support of their fight against Russia. All of this leads Marjorie Taylor Greene to call for a national divorce. We're going to talk about it. I'm your host, Hyde. This is Hide and Seek Media. Hello, all you beautiful and amazing people. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the show. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. The show is brought to you by the Hide and Seek Media Store. If you're like me and you like to spark a conversation or make a statement, click the link down below. Check out all that cool merch I have to offer. And if you use code 1776, I'll give you 20% off your entire order. So, Donald Trump puts America first as he flies to East Palestine, Ohio, and delivers water and food and much needed support to the people of Ohio as they battle through the worst chemical disaster the world has ever seen.
The past few weeks, the community has shown the tough and resilient heart of America, and that's what it is. This is really America right here. We're standing in America. Unfortunately, as you know, in too many cases, your goodness and perseverance were met with indifference and betrayal in some cases. Biden and FEMA said they would not send federal aid to East Palestine under any circumstance. They're not going to send aid. I thought that was a strange statement because I've been working with FEMA for a long time, 4 years, and they were great with us with the tornadoes, the hurricanes, and things like this. And it was a strange statement to come out, and they were doing nothing for you. They were intending to do absolutely nothing for you. JD and I spoke, and they said, they're not coming. They're not going to come. And I said, that's very strange. FEMA said, specifically, this doesn't meet the criteria, and that's horrible, and somebody has to do something for those people. I said,
now, you would think that the current President of the United States would want to go down and assess the damage and make sure that Americans are okay, that they have clean water, that the ground that they plant their crops in and take care of their livestock on isn't going to be saturated with poisonous chemicals that are going to kill their livestock and kill their crops and poison their water supply. You would think that the current president would want to ensure that Americans are taken care of. But what does Sleepy Joe do? He sneaks off in the middle of the night to Ukraine with $500 million of taxpayer money in tow to guarantee more military aid to Ukraine in their fight against Russia. Now, if that ticks you off as much as it does me, then maybe you agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene when she says that we need a national divorce. I don't know if I'm on that road. I've entertained the idea, but after long thought and hearing the opinions of some other people, it has dawned on me that a national divorce isn't necessary, and that is the last resort. And if that's what you're calling for, that means you've given up. Or you secretly want what the radical left and the World Economic Forum and the New World Order want. And that is the destruction of the United States and the death of the Constitution of the United States. Because that's what you get if you get a national divorce. And we're going to get into all of that in this video. So, but I want to know what you guys think, right? I want to know, what do you think about Trump going down to Ohio and like the media giving him crap about bringing Trump water? Okay, like I want to know what you guys think about that. What do you think about him going down there and helping out? And do you think it was just a photo op? Do you think it was sincere? Or do you think this is just part of his campaign strategy? Let me know what you think about that. What do you think about Biden offering $500 million more to Ukraine in military aid? Right? Does that tick you off? Because $500 million would go a long way to helping the people of East Palestine, Ohio right now. A very long way, right? But hey, we got to fight them dirty Russians, right?
Russians.
This ain't gonna be easy.
Not as easy as it used to be.
So I want to know what you guys think. Leave the comments down below because I love to engage with my viewers, right? So feel free to fire away. But I want to get into this first story here, right? Trump receives presidential welcome from East Palestine officials, renders relief amid Biden's absence from region. Trump, this is really America right here. We are standing in America. Former President Donald Trump has traveled to East Palestine to survey the damage and recovery efforts following the 38-car derailment of a Norfolk Southern train carrying hazardous material. Officials from East Palestine welcomed the former president, with the chief of the East Palestine Fire Department offering him a briefing one might expect President Joe Biden to receive were he not otherwise occupied in foreign territories. Following this meeting, the former president and members of the community delivered remarks to a small audience. We're here today in East Palestine to show our love and support for our fellow Americans in this hour of need, Trump said. 19 days ago, tragedy struck this wonderful village and rocked the lives throughout this area. Americans have been inspired by your strength and courage. We've seen the first responders and railroad workers serving bravely in the line of duty. We've seen citizens speaking up at the town halls, and we've seen organizations such as the East Palestine Community Foundation rising to the occasion. This is really America right here. We are standing in America, Trump said before criticizing the Biden administration's failure to respond to the needs of the community. Biden and FEMA said they would not send federal aid to East Palestine under any circumstances. I thought that was a strange statement because I've been working with FEMA for a long time, 4 years, and they've been great with us. According to Trump, it was only after he announced his trip to the administration. Let me back that up. According to Trump, it was only after he announced his trip that the administration began to consider a relief response. But they were doing nothing for you. They were intending to do nothing for you, said Trump. FEMA said specifically, this doesn't meet the criteria, and that's horrible, and someone has to do something for these people. I said back when I announced that I was coming, they changed their tune. It was an amazing phenomenon. The mayor and I were discussing that. It was quite amazing what happened. Trump then declared that he got them to move. Now look, that's Trump being bombastic. We all know that Donald Trump is egotistical and that he likes to hear himself speak. He likes the admiration. He likes people giving him attaboys and patting him on the back and telling him he did a good job. Most people do. But, being that you're a rich billionaire who has always had people telling you that, and you've kind of grown accustomed to hearing it on a regular basis, I can get where you would fall into that trap. I don't hold it against the man because at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words. I'm a firm believer in that, and Donald Trump can say all the crazy freaking rhetoric he wants as long as what he does is in the best interest of this country. Plain and simple. I don't know how to lay it out for you in any other way, right? That should be the number one focus of every single freaking politician from city council to freaking president. What is in the best interest of the community that I serve? Period. Not what's in the best interest of the community that I serve, but that can also line my pockets, right? Or that can also guarantee me a re-election. Because that should not be your motivation if that's why you're in politics. trust me, there's a whole group of us that are getting ready to take control of this country through our vote and get rid of you people. So watch out. You seen Anna Paulina Luna? You see Matt Gaetz? You see how we're starting to put these people in place? Little by little, the more they run, the more they're going to win. I promise you that. And it doesn't need to be endorsed by Trump. All they got to do is say the right things, the right pro-America things, and they're going to get elected. But they got to back it up, right? They got to put their money where their mouth is and prove it. Because if they don't, that's one term. That's all you're getting. You're getting one term to prove to us that that's who you are. We are paying attention. And trust me, the reason why I still do this channel is because I need to talk to people like you and get the word out there so that we understand that these are the kinds of people that we need to be voting for. It's people who care about this country first, not what's going on in Ukraine, not what's going on halfway around the world. Now, at the time of this recording, it's been 19 or 20 days since that derailment, and they still hadn't done anything. And he decides to go off to Ukraine, right, and help. See, there's this story from Politico. One of the decisive moments of his presidency, Biden heads to a troubled Europe. Decisive moments in his presidency? You're damn right. It's a decisive moment in his presidency. The problem is, it was a bad decision to go to Europe. You should have went to East Palestine, Ohio, not Ukraine and Poland. But that should show you, right? That should show you right there the where the Biden and this administration is, right? And what their whole agenda is. Their whole agenda is not about Americans or America first or taking care of Americans or doing the right thing for Americans. They don't care about Americans. They want this country to fall apart and be destroyed. Because it's going to happen, right? The war in Ukraine is not going to end anytime soon because America is funding it. As long as America keeps funneling millions and millions and billions of dollars into Ukraine in aid for military relief and to pay people's pensions, this war is never going to stop. There's this story here from Vox. Biden and Putin's dueling speeches show why the end of Ukraine war is a long way off. In this article, it expands on how much relief they've right here. Biden on Monday announced an additional $500 million in military aid to Ukraine days after Vice President Kamala Harris delivered a speech in Munich that described Russia's actions in Ukraine as crimes against humanity. Look, I'm not advocating for what Putin is doing in Ukraine, but it's going to continue as long as we keep sending money to Ukraine to help them fight the war. At some point, we have to stop giving money to this because this is basically a proxy war. The U.S. is fighting through Ukraine against Russia. And Russia claims that it was the U.S. that wants this war and was the one stopping peace talks. There's this story from Newsweek, right? Russia claims U.S. ordered Ukraine to stop peace talks. Now, this was June 15th of 2022. Okay, now remember when this war started? March or April 2022. I don't know. Maybe that's when I said it was going to start. But it was somewhere in between before June, right? But this story here, so why would the U.S. order Ukraine to stop peace talks? Then I also remember another story. I don't have it pulled up, but I also remember another story where they talked about where Boris Johnson, the then Prime Minister of Great Britain, of the UK, told Ukraine that they should not enter peace talks with Russia. Why would these countries want a war with Russia or want Russia to invade Ukraine and allow that to continue? Hey, got to keep the war machine turning, right? It's a military-industrial complex. Well, we got to find a way to sell all of these weapons and tanks and Humvees and shit that we build, right? We got to find a way to sell it all so that we can continue building more. We gotta feed that machine because that's billions of dollars in money, in revenue in people's pockets. So got to keep that machine going. And if we pulled out of Afghanistan, well, now we don't have that war anymore. So we need a new war. We need a new war. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Well, guess what? We'll get Ukraine to instigate Russia, and we'll help by like blowing up Nord Stream pipeline and doing all this other stuff, right? Sending our, black ops in and helping them do whatever they got to do so that they can disrupt, right, and instigate Russia into invading, which they did, which we all knew was going to happen. I was saying it, a year ago. Long before I said it before it actually happened. I said he was going to do it. It was obvious. I mean, it's not like I made a great prediction or anything, right? Everybody knew, and anybody who was paying attention knew that Putin was going to invade Ukraine. I was a little off on the China-Taiwan thing. I thought for sure that China would have invaded Taiwan by now, but I guess they're waiting for Russia to actually win in Ukraine or to see how long that's going to take. I don't know. Maybe they were waiting for this election cycle to happen so that they could get a distracted, do it while America's distracted with infighting about, the elections that are coming up. So I don't know. I was kind of off on the China-Taiwan thing, but I was almost dead on the Russia-Ukraine thing. But Joe Biden's handling of this was terrible, right? The whole administration, like the Department of Transportation. Hello, hey, Pete Buttigieg, why the hell are you only now going down there, right? There is this article here from Axios. Pete Buttigieg visits site of East Palestine train derailment. Now, this was just written, okay? So, like, I think this came out yesterday. Today, 3 hours ago. So this, like I said, this was just written. And in it, it's like, why it matters. The Biden administration has faced accusations from Republicans of moving too slowly and not doing enough in response to the wreck. Hello? Yes. It was 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Right? Like, why did it take so long for you to come down and check this out? Were you waiting to make sure the area was safe because you didn't, even though you told all those people that lived there the water's safe and the air is safe to breathe and all that, you want to make sure that it was really cleared out before you went down there because you knew what was on that train, you knew the truth, and all the reports that have been published are all bullshit. They say here in the story, the big picture, the derailment is the latest transportation crisis confronting Buttigieg and the transportation department after major aviation issues, a close call with a nationwide freight rail strike, and soaring gas prices. So, like, Buttigieg ain't doing too well. And it seems like that's the case for all of the Biden administration, right? You picked Pete Buttigieg because he's a gay man in politics. Okay? Made him Department of Transportation secretary when he had no background in transportation. He was a mayor of some frickin' city somewhere in Ohio, I think. Or Iowa somewhere. I don't remember. Kamala Harris. Okay, we all know why she was picked, because she was a woman of color. It's just bad choice after bad choice, right? And the president of the United States made all these bad choices by putting these people in the positions they're in. And so these people who make these bad decisions should be held accountable. The Biden administration should be held accountable for not showing up until now. But what I do love is there are people out there like Savannah Hernandez, who is a independent journalist, right? And she was out there. She was in East Palestine, and she asked the president or the secretary why it took him 3 weeks to show up, and his press secretary said she would be happy to answer questions, but not on camera. Let's take a listen.
2.5 weeks to actually get here to respond to East Palestine. Will you apologize to the residents of this city for the slow response, to the government's slow response? Do you have any apology?
I'm this press person. I can help you.
Sure. So can we
please.
ask why it took him almost 3 weeks to get here?
I'm sorry, I don't want to do this on camera.
What was his personal time off while there was a
I'm
tragedy
happy to
happening
talk to
here?
you guys off
And can we
camera.
also ask too why it he waited until
Okay, so I'm happy to answer your questions, but I don't want to do this on camera. I don't, you're being a little aggressive, right? She says that here in a little bit. And it's like, wait a minute. Somebody holding a camera up and videotaping your conversation in public, okay, in a public space, in a public parking lot, she could easily just say, okay, no, if you're not going to turn the cameras off, I'm going to walk away. But she doesn't. She sits here and constantly says, I'm happy to answer your questions, just not on camera. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Why don't you want it on camera? It's because you want to be able to deny that you ever said whatever they say you said after when they go on to report, your comments. So you want to make sure there's no record of it outside of their, recording. And so that to me, if you're not willing to put it on tape, then you're kind of hiding something, right? That's how I look at it. But the handling of this whole situation, the not showing up until 2.5, 3 weeks later, Biden sneaking off in the middle of the night to go to Ukraine, that really shows the American people that this administration really doesn't care about them. They really don't care about them at all. And I can understand why somebody like, Marjorie Taylor Greene would call for a national divorce, right? So I got her Twitter page pulled up here, and I want to show you this tweet. Now, I don't have the tweet where she calls for national divorce, but she references it in a couple of these tweets that I'm going to talk about. So right here, she says, today and every day is 1776. Never give up our freedoms. Never let the left steal them away. Be a watchman on the wall and stay on guard every single second of every single day, because the left will stop at nothing until they destroy our faith, our families, and our freedoms. Okay, that's a pinned tweet, right? So look, this is April 23rd of 2022. Well, Marjorie, if somehow you see this video, I want you to answer this question for me. And maybe you guys out there can answer it for her. Where is this Marjorie Taylor Greene at? Because this doesn't sound like national divorce. This sounds like standing up for your freedoms and defending this country and defending the Constitution and fighting to make sure that it stays the Constitution of the land. That's not a national divorce. A national divorce kills the Constitution of the United States. The longest living Constitution in the world. Okay? Ever. Understand that. The United States Constitution is the longest Constitution in the world. It has been in place the longest of any Constitution ever on the face of this planet. That means that this government, our system of government, and the way we conduct our country has survived longer than any other attempt at conducting freedom in a country. why you want to kill that with national divorce. All right, so here's a tweet from an hour ago. Good grief. Just keep proving my point on national divorce. The left and right can't even agree on causes of death, even when the numbers don't lie. Drug overdoses, one, blah, blah, blah. Right, and she has another one here. And people are criticizing me for wanting a national divorce from the left. The real problem with my right-wing critics are that you forget too easily and refuse to take off your rose-colored glasses. Not me, my vision is 2020, and I haven't forgotten. And she retweets this tweet about the draconian law rules or whatever that were put in place over COVID, during the COVID stuff. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene, what you seem to forget is there's a lot of Americans, millions and millions of Americans who didn't abide by those goddamn rules, who didn't wear the masks everywhere, who refused to get vaccinated because they believed in science and that natural immunity was way better than any vaccine that you could get, which is now proven to be true. You seem to forget that the Constitution of the United States is only the Constitution of the United States. Where if you get a national divorce, you don't get to take the Constitution with you. Right? Because that's the Constitution of the United States. You won't be the United States anymore. So that Constitution dies, and you have to implement a new one. You're willing to kill the greatest Constitution and the greatest experiment in freedom ever to exist on the planet because you can't get along with some people? Well, that sounds a little like a snowflake to me. Stand on your own 2 feet and fight for what you want. That's what people like me are doing. That's why I do this channel, right? It's because I'm here to give you my opinion. Tell you what the middle-class American blue-collar guy thinks about what's going on in the world today and how we should be fighting for this country and fighting to fix what's wrong. But here's the thing, right? I look at it like a beautiful, gorgeous. Here, I'll even put it in terms you can understand, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I look at it like a beautiful savanna plantation. The home on this plantation grounds has a very sturdy foundation and framework. Beautiful stone columns and solid oak framing that has withstood the test of time, right? It just needs an interior remodel. So many rooms in those old plantation style houses that were all sectioned off, right? And you had to go through door after door after door to get to another room. Nowadays, you want an open concept where it's more open for, everybody to see everything, more transparent, less bullshit, right? In the way. So I don't want to tear down the house. I want to remodel the house, open up the floor and give it more of an open floor plan. I want a more open and transparent government, a smaller government. A lot of these departments we have in the government now, we don't need. Those should be, discerned down to each state and let the state handle those, problems on a state level. The federal government shouldn't be involved. Period. So calling for a national divorce, it really pains me. It pains me when I see that, when I see somebody call for that, because I mean, then you get stories like this one from the Seattle Times. Civil war trends after Marjorie Taylor Greene tweet asks for national divorce. Well, that's what will happen. A civil war will happen if you try to split the country up. Because what Marjorie Taylor Greene seems to not grasp a hold of is that there are no blue states in the United States. California, maybe, but not even California. Because even in California, the only areas that are blue are the major metropolitan areas. All the farmland in California and all that is all red MAGA country. So you tell me what blue state there is that you want to get rid of. How are you going to do this national divorce without a civil war? Because the people in those blue states, when the red counties around them say, "Nah, we're not going to give you the food that we grow for you. We're just not going to sell it to you anymore." Those people in those blue cities will then try to take it by force. And guess what? They got all the freaking guns and police departments and all that crap, right? So, hey, they've outfitted all of these police departments with SWAT teams and I mean, hell, even the IRS has a SWAT team. So you don't think they would implement that on a federal level? And it all depends on who runs the government, right? National Guard falls under the governor of every state. So if the governor of the state is Democrat and he has control of the National Guard, he can just go take whatever he wants, the military. So the idea of a national divorce is stupid. And I hate that I have to say that, because it makes me agree with people like frickin' Liz Cheney. There's this story from NBC. Liz Cheney blasts Marjorie Taylor Greene's call for national divorce between liberal and conservative states. And Mitt Romney says Marjorie Taylor Greene's pitch for national divorce is insane. I mean, this is the problem when you make me freaking agree with people like Mitt Romney and Liz Cheney. But a national divorce is not the answer. Okay? What the answer is holding our politicians accountable. When they don't do what they say they are going to do or what we elect them to do, we get rid of them. And that is where we need to constantly be telling people that the power of this country relies in its people and in its vote. That is I understand that all of these things are corrupt. And even people now are saying that even you can't even trust elections in this country anymore. Well, and I'm one of those people that said that something fishy about, that there was some janky stuff that went on in some of these elections. But at the end of the day, if we give up, we give them what they want. A weakened America. You can't get a national divorce without a civil war. So the infighting alone leaves us vulnerable to our enemies. And this ain't like 1865 when we could have a civil war and not have to worry about the English coming to try and take back the colonies and whatever, because that would take them a while to get over here and we would know. Not today. Not today. Hypersonic ballistic missile drops in the atmosphere from outer space, detonates an EMP 20 miles above, DC or a major, power station or something, and blackouts, half the country. You do 2 of those in strategic areas, 3 of them in strategic areas. In a matter of minutes, you can make the entire country go dark. So being vulnerable in this day and age isn't smart. So fixing it from the inside is the only way to do it. But you need somebody who's willing to tear it all down, and gut the inside of the house. Ron DeSantis isn't that guy. Marjorie Taylor Greene apparently isn't that person either, because she's calling for a national divorce because she's given up on the country, and she's backing rhino Republicans like Kevin McCarthy. So I think she's lost her way, and the corruption has reached Marjorie Taylor Greene. Maybe not so much on a monetary level, but she's got power now. She's got a voice in Congress. She can be heard on committees, and so now she's gotten power drunk and thinks that, but a national divorce is just stupid. To me, that's chicken shit. To me, that's weak. To me, that means that you've given up. I'm not saying our government is perfect, by far. But the idea, the foundation was. It would not have lasted this long if it wasn't. Do we need to add to it? Do we need to change out the framework from solid oak to steel? Sure. Add a few new amendments. Take a few away that may not serve its purpose or serve a purpose anymore. Of course. But we need the right kind of politicians in office to do that. We don't have that right now. We have some. And we're getting there. And it's going to take time. We have to be willing to play the long game and fight this battle. Calling for a national divorce and splitting up is just quitting. And I'm not a quitter. I'm a freaking American. And I'm willing to fight for this country. And if you are too, smash that like button. I'm going to leave it there. If you made it all the way to the end, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. If you like the work I'm doing here and you want to help the channel and support me and support the channel and help us grow, hit that share button and share this video on all social media platforms. I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and I'll catch you later. Peace.